All right, we're back for episode 91 of Digital Divination. You know, that's 9 episodes from 100.
It sure is. If you add the two numbers together, you get 10, and that's a factor of 100.
Yes. So it's very close.
Very close.
That was kind of always my goal with each set of podcasts was get to 100. So I don't know what's going to happen after that. Just saying. But
Well, we'll be syndicated, right? That's how it works.
yes. So there's some residuals, and
right. I can't wait to get those sweet residuals.
Yeah. Oh man, wouldn't that be nice? Oh, I don't know. Passive income.
Yeah. We need a union, I guess. We need a big podcasters union.
Yes. Actually, hearing about SAG has been negotiating with individual networks and having some success. So I think that's good. And so the smaller networks have been kind of coming to the table and getting things started up. I know AMC starting up a couple new shows, and then the larger companies like Netflix and Hulu are still like, well,
no,
not yet. And so it's like,
I actually just finished watching the first season of a very good show on AMC called Dark Winds.
Oh.
And it's pretty great. It's got like mostly a native cast, and it has, it's about that. It takes place in the 70s, and it's a little bit like Fargo, a little bit like like the first season of True Detective, because it's like, oh, is there supernatural stuff happening? You're not really sure, but it's and there's a a pretty, I won't call it a mystery, but there's a thriller aspect to it, and it's really good.
Yeah.
And there's a second season coming out soon, or it's already started, and I haven't.
There's a plug already for one of the networks.
There you go, AMC. And and some of the other film studios, like I think A24 also has made a deal with some of the actors or writers and the smaller film stuff. So
that's good. Yeah.
So there will be entertainment in the future.
Yes. And until then, we will entertain as best we can.
Indeed.
So, we're recording here on Labor Day weekend. Labor Day weekend. And I don't know about your area, but it's kind of cloudy and dreary here, and it rained a whole bunch yesterday.
Yeah, it rained on us too. Yeah, I was out for my walk this morning, and I got rained on a little bit.
So I think summer might officially be over, unfortunately.
Well, here's fingers crossed for me.
Yeah, no, it just kind of like it. We had 2 great weekends in a row, and actually, it was really good here on yesterday and Friday. It was awesome. Like really warm and sunny and no wind. And then now it's not as nice. So, I don't know. Go figure. And in case you can't tell, I'm not at home. I'm at Camino. There's no books behind me or Mandalorian or anything. So
you do have a boat behind you. I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, but there's a boat
it might. Yeah, it's just at the top, and there's a couple lighthouses. We have a nautical theme here in our. This is my dining room up at Camino. So dining room, kitchen, living room's all one big room. So, but anyway, we missed you last week. I know you had a lot going on, and Ron and I continued our discussion of Starfinder 2.0.
I watched it. It was very good.
So we've been talking a lot about that, but I was thinking that Starfinder 2.0 is 2 years out.
At least.
Yeah, at least. No, I'm hoping Gen Con 2 years. And then
well, something might happen.
Oh, like a pandemic or something? Yeah, who knows what's going to happen.
Another pandemic could happen. Yeah.
Let's hope not. And then even the full playtest doesn't start till next summer-ish sometime. So I thought we would talk about why people should play Starfinder now still, rather than I see a lot of people asking online saying, hey, I'm interested in Starfinder, but I see this 2.0 is coming out. Should I wait? And I'm thinking, no. You should not. And I thought we could talk about reasons why for that.
Yeah. I mean, we could start with like the simple thing is that you want a game that's like Starfinder. Why wait a whole year to start playing it, right? Like go out there and grab the stuff, because if you just want to try out and see if you like the setting and not say the mechanics, but like some of the flavor of the mechanics, how they sort of play out, the magic mixed with the science. Go ahead and start looking at all the rules on Archives of Nethys because it's free. And why not? You've wasted none of your money and only a little bit of your time.
And there's a lot of groups out there, so I think it's great. You can access all the archives of Nethys for everything for Starfinder. But also, if you go out on Warhorn, for example, warhorn.net, you can find in-person or online groups all over the country, all over the world, quite frankly, time zones, different days and stuff. And a lot of them are pretty friendly for newbies coming in, a lot of low-level scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the nice things about Starfinder, even though it's been out here now 6 years, that they're still constantly bringing out first-level adventures, 3 to 6 level adventures, in addition to higher-level stuff. So there's always things for new players to do coming in.
Are they calling them bounties?
Yes.
As well, the short stuff. Okay, they're also calling them bounties.
Yes.
Yeah, there's a couple of those.
Yeah, I got to write the very first Starfinder bounty.
You got to write the very first one? Yeah, exactly. So I guess reason number one is that it's easy.
Yes.
It's easy to do. You say find that rules, find the groups. You can just give it a try.
I think reason number two, and this is something that I feel a lot of that I missed with another game that I'll mention shortly, is that Starfinder is going to be built upon a lot of the lore, Starfinder Second Edition, a lot of the lore of Starfinder First Edition. And if you wait 2 years to get in, you will then have to assimilate a lot of stuff that current Starfinder players will just have as second knowledge. And this is something that I feel I miss because I'm playing Pathfinder Second Edition. I only played a tiny bit of Pathfinder First Edition. So when people are talking about all this stuff just offhand, it's like, yeah, I don't know that. I got to go figure it out.
Yeah. It's and playing it now, and I don't know if they're going to do this, but maybe they will in society stuff. But like playing now, you might even get to participate in some of the things that are changing, like because the very last Pathfinder First Edition Adventure Path was about the Whispering Tyrant Tarbafon sort of breaking out and messing things up a bunch, and then he's a bigger, more prominent threat in Second Edition because of that stuff that happened in First Edition. So going out there and trying these adventures and just sort of like you said, getting the basics of the lore, and then also like getting to know like this is what it was before and this is what it's going to be when it changes, because things are going to change, right? I don't know if they've talked about it, but they've definitely hinted at I can never remember what what partition I have to keep on the right side of, but I know they've talked a little bit about like things changing in the canon, and it makes sense. So when you made an edition change, it's why not change up the canon a little bit, like Pathfinder did it with a bunch of stuff. They made a whole new nation with New Thassalon. They basically did the Tarbafon stuff. They did the Ravenel secession from Cheliax, right? All that stuff, and sowing the seeds for even more that are moving the sort of story of the world forward. And Starfinder has a giant story with its massive infinite galaxy of things. It can move all sorts of other things forward. Oh, I think I know one thing that they hinted at. No, I can't be sure now if it's actually been hinted at now. But you'll notice that one of the sort of sketches of the iconic Solarian is a Patra, which is a sort of non Pact Worlds species. Essentially, it's actually a more of a Veskarian species. And whether or not like that's going to make a big deal. I know we had you've got Obadiah, who's also a Vesk, but Obadiah is kind of not. Has never been part of like the Veskarian. She doing her own thing because she's an adventurer, right? And I don't know if the Patra thing going to be sort of like digging into that stuff as well. So there's definitely hints at stuff that might change in the future.
Yeah, and I think that's nice when you're playing a game and something happens and you realize it's a callback to something before. So like I just watched the Flash movie, on the recent one on
okay,
Max.
I'm sorry.
I know. I told my wife it's not going to be very good, but I kind of want to see it anyway. But the one thing I liked about it, I'll say, is lots of callbacks to previous DC movies and things.
Right. Yeah. I heard
yeah. And so that's kind of a neat thing. And so when you see a show that kind of brings back a character or a storyline or part to something in the future and maybe explains what happened in the interim, even, that's like, wow, that's really cool. And so if you're playing Starfinder Second Edition, I'm sure all that's going to be standalone. You can just build from there. But if you know what was happening before and what changed, and get that explanation, then that seems like an even cooler part.
It's just you get more invested in
Yeah.
the world, right? A little bit, because you've grown with it a little bit. So getting on this next 2 years of just learning a little bit about the lore, and then just all deciding, because like with Pathfinder, Starfinder, these are, you don't have to engage with the lore at all if you want to take the game
Right.
as its core and just sort of make your own story out of it, or not necessarily set it on Galarian
Mhm.
or in the pack worlds or whatever, and go out and do your own thing. But it's always nice to have this, so you understand when you see why people are talking about. Oh, one thing I know they did talk about, so I can talk about this. The iconic mystic has
Yes.
changed to be the current iconic mystic's son,
Mhm.
and that
Mhm.
he is a worshiper of a new
Mhm.
god. Now, what's going on there? Because it's a name that is familiar to people who know Pathfinder and Starfinder, but it's a little bit different. And so why not get in here and sort of like learn the backstory, so that when people are talking about, oh my god, Zon Shalin,
Mhm.
the god, who is that? What's that
Right.
mean? And you'll be able to engage in that conversation better, and it just helps you become sort of like part of the
Mhm.
community.
Mhm. So, what's that? Is that 3 things already? I don't know if that's 3.
I'd say it was like two
2
and
and
a
a half,
half, three
3?
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I'm just kinda thinking these off the top of my head, right? As a player
Mhm.
who's been playing a lot of Starfinder, knowing that 2nd edition's coming out, what are some things that I'm kinda glad I'm doing now, glad I started with?
Mhm.
Another one will be Starfinder accessories. Because I'm playing and
Mhm.
using some things like maps, and pawns. Those are things that will still be useful even with a
Mhm.
change of rule set. And we saw that with Pathfinder, going from 1st edition to
Mhm.
2nd edition, that a lot of the classic maps that they call them now from 1st edition are still used in adventures, especially in organized play.
Sure.
And they're actually having to reprint them as kind of a new printings because they're so
Mhm.
popular. And so if you were playing now because it was fun, right? You're playing now and you collected these things, it's not like those things are going to waste. So there's
Sure. Yeah.
some additional carryover, I would say, from one system to the next.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely. There's then also occasionally, it would the newer sort of deck of endless
Right.
NPCs has some rulesy stuff in it, but a lot of it is just sort of plot stuff, and you can reuse
Hmm.
that. For instance, the deck of many
Right.
worlds definitely is usable. While it has some mechanical stuff in it, like alignment and whatnot, but it'll definitely, it's great for producing worlds, and all of the species and planets and whatnot that have been talked about in Starfinder up to now aren't really going anywhere. Like they still exist. Like nothing is getting rewritten from scratch,
Right.
right? It's not another gap where we start over again. It's just like, oh no, there's going to be planets that you know of, and species that you know. Whether or not they'll have, you'll be able to play them or get stats for them, or use them as aliens right away. No, but they're there, and you can kind of like get to know this vibrant galaxy of
Hmm.
stuff.
Hmm. Well, and you mentioned aliens briefly as you're talking about species. Even all the
Mm,
aliens in the alien archives, in the field test, they showed a couple of critters,
yeah,
right,
yeah,
from before. Well, you know what? They're still gonna have the same flavor, right? Gonna have the same
yeah, yeah, yeah,
basic thing. Just how they operationalize what they can do with the new rule set will have to be updated, just like, anything else that
yeah,
changes. So, learning even what all those various critters are in the alien archives still is beneficial, going forward. You
yeah,
recognize it, you kind of know what they do. And if you're running your own homebrew, okay, these are the kind of critters I might see in this setting. So I can
yeah,
bring them in and kind of make sense in, this biome or whatever. So,
yeah, yeah. And if they're keeping the sort of second Pathfinder second edition's creature creation sort of rule set, it's actually not that difficult to make a monster in Pathfinder second edition. So it probably won't be very difficult to make a Starfinder second edition monster either. And come out, oh, I know the name, and I know it breathes lasers out of its mouth. Great, I can then throw that together pretty easily.
yeah,
Until they put out the alien core or whatever it is they're going to call
right.
it.
Yeah, it's interesting. So thinking about the books that are going to come out, there's a lot of books for Starfinder now. They're going to come out
Hmm.
with kind of like a GM core, player core, and alien, similar to what they're doing
Yeah,
with remastered. I'm assuming.
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm assuming
Yeah,
too. Yeah, yeah.
so all those other books out there, Near Space, and
Mhm.
looking at galaxy exploration, and books that talk about broader parts of the setting. All that flavor there is still going to be something that's going to be useful
Sure.
that you can build
Yeah,
off of.
100%.
Because even when you look at a lot of those books, yeah, there's some uh, character attributes and features in all of those
Hmm.
books, but almost all of those are all kind of setting material that
Right.
is
Yeah, yeah.
stat independent.
Yeah, the majority of
Yeah,
the that is fully, completely usable
yeah,
still. So you can go out and buy pack worlds and still have and near space and have that information. And granted, whatever's going to change is going to change, but it's not going to be so widespread that it makes the book completely obsolete,
right,
right? You're just going to have to be like, oh, this part, or even yeah, you don't even have to like if you want to, if you fall in love with the current Starfinder setting the way it is, just continue to use it.
right,
If you want to continue to go on to second edition and use the the mechanics, but you can still just sort of like not worry about there's no Zonshilin, it's
yeah,
still Zonkathon, and that's the way I want to have my game.
right. Well, yeah, it's true. As a homebrew, you can kind of do
Yeah,
whatever you want. Yeah, so I think that's a good 4.5, 5 reasons. Can you think of any other,
yeah.
strong reasons why?
I mean, because it's
Yeah,
fun, man. It's Starfinder. It's wild and wacky, and it's got all sorts of. I mean, people talk about like, oh, Pathfinder, and now second edition, I can play a Dampier puppet or whatever. But like, that's cool. And also, both Starfinder's got weird aliens as well. You can play a walking protoplasm. You can play a jellyfish person. You can go ahead and uh do a swarm. You're a swarm of creatures in one sort of body, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of sort of fun things to sort of try out, at least to dip your toe into before any sort of changeover. And again, if you decide to change over, like Pathfinder First Edition, it still exists. You can still get the PDFs. There's still, I'm sure there's still a Foundry module or Roll20 modules and stuff like that you
hmm
can play and use for first edition. So Starfinder first edition is not necessarily going anywhere. It's just going to be not as supported, and there'll be people who will support it on like drive through and Starfinder Infinite and stuff like that, and continue to put stuff out. We've seen people like Owen Casey Stevens still do Pathfinder first
hmm
edition stuff because there's people who like it, and people who are still playing it. So get in now, so you have the time to find out which way you want to go when the when
hmm
the great schism comes.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair. I remember when second edition came out, it was really tough to see where the community was going to go, especially with the
Yeah,
play test, because early on with the play test, I think character creation was a bottleneck for a lot of people jumping in. Right, it was relatively
yeah,
slow because the system was a lot different. Um,
yeah,
I think now that's not going to be an issue because a lot of people are used to the system from Pathfinder Second Edition. So whether or not you
right,
want to stay or jump, that'll be more based
yeah,
upon if you want to or not, rather than that's too hard,
right,
takes too long to figure it out. I think
right,
it's actually going to simplify things. Kind of
yeah.
along those lines. Even though they've made this announcement, we still have sometime next month coming out Starfinder Enhanced.
Indeed,
Yeah,
yeah. You're getting Starfinder Enhanced. We're still getting Scoured Stars as an adventure
right.
path. We're still going to get Mechageddon as an adventure
hmm
path. And why not dig into those, because there's still plenty of content. Oh, that's another sort of reason. It's like there's so much content out
hmm
there that you can continue playing at least for 2 more years,
Right, and
right? If you
all the society scenarios are still going to be coming out,
are going to keep coming, yeah,
for the next 2 years. And if you were to start now, I mean, we're in season 6 of society play, and it would take a very long time to play 6 seasons worth of adventures
oh
to go
yeah,
through. And then I think there's 9 adventure paths, probably 10 adventure paths now, to play through 10 adventure paths. You know,
Yeah.
I've been playing for 6 years, and I've only gotten through 7 adventure paths.
Ooh, that's still pretty good.
Yeah, you know,
Honestly.
so yeah. But I've like, you know, I've been playing in at least 2 games a week for 6 years, plus
Mhm.
society play and everything else like
There you
that.
go.
Yeah, I like you said, I think it's a fun game. I really enjoy it. It's easy to pick up, and it can carry through a lot of different settings. You know, you can play a
Mhm.
lot of different types of Starfinder, which I
Mhm.
think is one of the really cool things about it. You're not limited to one thing or the
Yeah.
other. The other thing I'll say is kind of along those lines where I was going with the content is, you know, they just hired another Starfinder developer, Mike Kimmel,
Oh, yeah.
you know, who formerly was on the Pathfinder side.
Yeah, he was on the
Yeah,
society
organized
organized play
play.
side, I believe. I didn't work with Mike
Hmm.
much, when I was there, and I think we actually left around the same time, and then kind of came back around the same time. But it's great to have someone who sort of knows the company basically, and kind of knows how the company works, and just sort of it's going to be super easy onboarding him, I'm sure. And I can't imagine he didn't like read or play any Starfinder before this, right? You got a Paizo, you get in contact with all
Oh
the
yeah, oh
games
yeah,
all the time, so so something. So it'll be good. It's good. I mean, it's great
yeah. I'm actually
that he's coming back.
curious to see if things get reorganized a little bit, or if maybe he starts helping with the development of Starfinder organized play for second edition or something. You know, just because of that connection. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know,
I don't know if he's going to be on the organized play side of things. Honestly, I think he's just going to be on the Starfinder side
yeah,
of things, but because I know that there are still uh, more hiring is taking place for organized play and the Pathfinder
right,
narrative team, since with Vanessa
right.
leaving and all that.
So, but it's good to have him on board. He officially
Yeah,
starts tomorrow, Tuesday. He said, but he's just going
right.
to be picking up his computer and signing paperwork. I guess
Sure.
because everybody's got to work remote, so he's got to go and get
Yep.
it.
Yep.
You
Yep.
know, I guess he gets it from the warehouse. Like if your shop is completely closed down, where does IT hang out? You know?
I mean, they were still at the it was all this. It was still the same building. I
Okay,
think we still have that
yeah,
building for now. It's just that it's very empty and kind of
yeah,
spooky. I'm still picking up my hard copy contributor copies and monthly stuff that I get
yeah,
there. Um, uh, so once a month I get to go in and scoop up a bunch of books.
yeah, yeah. No, it's interesting. Anyway, I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about
Hmm.
Starfield because
Oh
you had
yeah,
mentioned it before, and I've been seeing all kinds of news about it, and I was not an early backer, whatever you call it, where you get early access to
you
it.
didn't you didn't buy the premium edition, so you don't have the early
Oh, is that
access,
is
right?
that the only thing that Premium Edition
You
has?
you had to buy the premium edition. I mean, it's not the only thing it has, but if you buy the premium edition, you got to start playing last
Right, right,
Thursday.
right.
Um, but I have Game Pass, so I could have spent a little extra, not the full premium edition. I could have spent like it was like an upgrade, $30 or something like that to get that early access. But I'm just gonna wait till tomorrow or possibly even later tonight. It's all pre-downloaded on my Xbox.
Yeah,
It depends on whether or not they do it live at like
yeah,
midnight
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Eastern time, which will be 9 o'clock. Oh, I'll at least get in there and make a character or something like that. But I'm pretty excited because it's Bethesda
yeah,
RPG, and I dig those.
yeah. I'm concerned. I'm worried
Sure.
because I'm the kind of
What are you
person
worried about?
when I get a game like this and I start playing it, I'm like
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden 24 hours later, I'm still at the computer kind of thing. And
Sure. Yeah.
this week is it's the end of summer. I have to get back to my fall schedule and
Oh.
start going
Mm-hmm.
to faculty meetings and figuring out stuff. I don't start teaching till the following week, but it's like,
Right.
oh man, I don't know. Should I get into it? I probably will. I probably will get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. It'll be good. It's blowing off steam
Yeah.
between those things.
Yeah. Well, I have to
Yeah.
download it through Steam, so I can't blow off Steam.
Fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. So,
Is it on? Is it?
oh, I don't know.
Can you do
I
it through
thought it
Steam?
was through Steam, but maybe I'm thinking Baldur's
It might.
Gate. Yeah,
Baldur's Gate
I'm
is
probably
that,
thinking Baldur's Gate. Um,
but Starfield is a weird Microsoft exclusive, so it might not be
okay,
on
I
Steam.
was just
You
making
might
a
have
joke.
to
Yeah,
download it
so
for the Microsoft
the same
Store.
reason why I haven't
Yeah.
bought Baldur's Gate 3 though is this, and so
Sure.
it's like,
Yeah.
oh man, because I'm hearing such great things. Now about Starfield, this is my other concern. I
Mm-hmm.
read the computer spec requirements, and they're
Oh,
pretty high.
I bet they're beefy. Yeah.
If you want to get 60 frames per second, man, you need a really good graphics card. And my laptop
Yeah.
that I play on, it's 2 years old. So I have a RTX 3070, which
Hmm.
I think is only going to get me like 25 to 30 frames for most of everything. Um, so I don't know. Again, this is one of those things. Not only might I have to spend a lot of time playing, I might then have to go and buy a brand new computer to ensure. So it ends up being a really
Yeah.
expensive download.
I have it on my Xbox, and I know
Yeah,
that's sort of, I think, capped at 30 frames or so. I'm not a frames per second kind of guy,
yeah,
honestly. I don't think I can tell the difference. But I don't know. People are like, so you'll be able to tell. I'm like, oh, whatever. I'm gonna have fun. I'm
yeah,
gonna
yeah.
play it. Although I did buy a new
Yeah,
gaming
that's what I was
computer
thinking.
just like
Oh, he
2
bought
weeks
this
ago.
just for Starfield.
I bought it for because the other one was too slow and it's very clunky.
Yeah,
But I will. I mean, I've been playing games on it,
yeah,
so I have plenty of games on that computer, and for when the TV is in being occupied, I'll still have the the
yeah,
computer.
yeah. So I'm pretty excited. So we'll have to compare notes then. So I think I'll
Mm-hmm.
probably
Yeah, next time.
I have a game scheduled tonight, so I don't think I'll download it today. But tomorrow I'm actually off all day tomorrow still. And I
Oh,
should
good.
be
Yeah,
finishing up my syllabi, but it's pretty much done. So
sure.
maybe I'll get in 8 hours. I don't know. We'll see.
It's
Yeah.
good. It's good. I'm pretty. I don't know. I've already seen people say, "Oh, it's a Bethesda RPG and it's full of bugs," and I'm like, those. I hardly ever get those
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
personally. I don't know. I just get lucked out, and also like that's part of the charm of those kind of games. But other people are like, "There's pretty awesome stuff happening," and I'm like, "Yeah, I can't wait to get in there and do some
It's
space
getting good
nonsense."
reviews, and there's already
Yeah.
people putting out mods for it. So I'm like, wow.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
What was I saw a thing today. It was just like this is the mod that's gonna save Starfield, and it's like play as Ryan
Yeah.
Gosling,
Yeah. I saw
and that
you
was the
can
whole mod.
somebody's reskinning everything.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. Okay.
I'm gonna pick up so many sandwiches when I start playing Starfield.
Okay. Now I don't know.
There's a whole they were like, this is why you can't get 30 jokes about why you can't get 30 frames per second because there's just like sandwiches.
Oh,
Like you know
yeah.
how
Yeah.
like I don't know if in Skyrim you could just get cabbage,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
fill your room with cheese
Yeah. Yeah.
wheels, right? In Starfield it's
Oh,
sandwiches.
okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, I've seen a lot of how to get legendary gear right away, and then it's like you have to do this mission, this mission, this mission, talk to this guy about this, and like, oh, how do you figure that out? You know?
Well, I mean, those are the people who played it
Yeah, yeah,
and got the
yeah,
gear, and
yeah,
then like how to and then work
yeah.
backwards, probably. But like also, it's always it seems to be like when games come out, an osmosis of walkthroughs that just occur,
Yes,
like secrets get revealed. Like someone found this stuff and immediately puts it out on YouTube,
yeah.
and it's like, wow, okay. You must have had this game early or something, or know someone who knows someone. And it's always it ends up being like eventually a copy of a copy of a copy, but like
Well, I know some games people when they download the code, then they'll actually go and parse through it and try
hmm,
to see different
data
things.
mine.
So, but
Yeah,
I don't know how it works, for this. So, but we shall find out for ourselves.
we shall.
Right. Well, Jason, it's good catching up with you again.
Yeah, great. I mean, I'll tell you something. With this whole through the whole podcast here, and you didn't mention my new glasses. I got new glasses since last we met.
Oh,
It's really
I,
you kind of I know you got to get in there
I'm
and
gonna
look
go
because of
back and I'm gonna have to
my face.
compare between the two.
Yeah, there's less frame down here, so it's like they make me look a little
Oh,
more
I I
uh
heard
uh
mention of trifocals.
sciencey.
Now I know what they're referencing.
Yes, and I've got progressive
Yeah.
lenses because my eyes are failing. Well, no, progressive lenses are for like because your eyes. Yeah, the optometrist was talking to me about it. Is because your eyes can't refocus through the glasses to read, because I'm nearsighted and I could normally like just read close up, but now that because now they can't go through the powerful lenses that I have, so I either have to like, I gotta read a little bit, like look down a little bit and read the stuff, and I'm getting used to them. It's been less than a week. I got them like just like last week, and I'm still getting a little. If I move my head too much down, my peripheral vision down here goes like a wave, and I'm like, whoa, okay.
Yeah, the last pair of glasses I got, I have really narrow frames because my prescription was so thick, and they did okay. Here's the far one, here's the reading one, and this tiny little band in the middle is the computer one. And it was like I had to move my head up and down to line up. It's like I don't know.
It's a lot.
It was a lot.
It's a lot. Yeah.
But ever since my eye surgery, I don't have anything. So
great.
You just have to get really old or have early onset of cataracts, and you can get new eyes too.
And then you need eye surgery. Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
All right. Well, it's been great chatting with you again. We'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Yeah. I'll talk to you soon.
I'm John.
And I'm Jason, and this has been Digital Divination.